Hey friends, what's up? Brad Hussey here. We're going to be building a site in Wix Studio. I found one called MathesonFoodCompany.com. It's basically Matty Matheson's food company. He is a popular YouTube chef. And probably many of you know him from The Bear, the TV show, where he is an actor and an executive producer, but he is a legendary Canadian chef. He owns restaurants here, and he's opened up his own food company where you can buy at the major grocery stores like Walmart and stuff, his mac and cheese and his sauces and his dressings. And so what I thought would be really cool is to rebuild this site, but do it in Wix Studio, and let's see how close we can get it and learn some things along the way. So the first thing that I would do is try my best to find a matching font. The font here is a Persu Condensed Pro. And that font is a premium font. It's something that you need to buy the license for. And if you want the complete family, it's about $768. And I don't think I'm going to do that. What I went and did was I found an alternative font that was as close to this condensed style font as possible. It's not a perfect match, but it is something called Landasan's Demo. You can find it for free, and as with most free fonts, they're not perfect, but you know what? Good enough. When in all caps, it actually does look pretty good. The next thing you need to do is get the color palette for the site. I'm going to do that through this Chrome plugin called Colorzilla, and you can basically just choose the web page color analyzer, and it's going to give you all the colors on the site. And there's all the colors. You could choose it, copy the hex or the RGB, and it even shows you where they are on the page. And in my Wix Studio site, type in wixstudio.new in your browser, wixstudio.new, and that'll fire up a fresh site. Feel free to follow along if you want. I'm also going to go pretty fast. This is a YouTube video after all. So I got my typography added in. I chose it, I uploaded it, and I have it for all of the paragraphs and headings. I got really large text here. The colors, I've added them in. Background, the action color with that primary red. Then we got the green, and then we got the yellow. All right, and so we got that. I'm also going to set a max width for this site, because if you look at the original site, it's a responsive site and it goes full width. There's no like container. So I wanted the max width of the site to be something really large that most people will never go past. And that's 2,400 pixels for me here. Okay, so I've got my typography and colors set up. Now I've also gone ahead prior to this because it took a little bit of nitpicky work, but I have the header and footer already designed. It looks like this. I'll show you and how I did it. It's quite simple, but headers and footers can be a little bit finicky. What I have is a header here, 3 columns, 1, 2, 3. And then I have the menu on the left side and a menu on the right side. And this is an SVG graphic. I took all the graphics from the website and downloaded them, from the product images to the images of them using the products and the logos, and uploaded it into my media gallery for the site files. So it's all here for me to use quickly. And the footer's not a perfect match, but I wanted to just play with it a little bit and change it up. It's mostly the same. I just got a little bored and I didn't want to add the second menu. Have you ever done that where you're just like, I don't want to add just one extra element? It'd probably take me 60 seconds, but I don't want to do it. And so I didn't want to do it. I thought, good enough. Here it is. Now let's jump right in to the fun stuff, the middle part. And so first things first, we got a big full Matheson Food Company logo taking up the full everything. Let's do it. So I'm going to add a section here, and that's going to be fit to screen responsive behavior. Okay. I'm going to change my screen size so I can see the whole canvas perfect. The background color is going to be the site red. No, it's white. Sorry, white. And then we're going to add an element right from our media library. In fact, I could just click media, site files, and then Matheson Food Company logo, the big SVG. I could just throw it in there. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change the size. So instead of just dragging it like this, like a rookie, I'm going to click these 3 dots, advanced settings, and then we're going to go width 100% and height 100%. Look at that. But it's going to have some padding on the outside. So under this blue breadcrumb section, I want to have some padding on the outside of the entire section. So under the inspector panel, we're going to put, I don't know, 5% across the entire thing. I'm pretty happy with that. That looks pretty good. Now, as you'll notice, when you scroll down, see how that stays fixed? And then as I scroll, the next section comes up in front of it. That's actually really easy. It looks like a pro move, but it's so basic, but it has a real big impact. So I'll show you how to do that in just a moment here. Let's add a new section. We're going to click add section right below this one. And this section is just a big red section with a carousel that cycles through images really quickly and some text. It's really basic. I'm just going to make this section a little bit taller so I can work with it. I'm just going to choose like 1,000 pixels for now. We can always adjust it afterwards. This section is also going to be that site red. Perfect. And now I'm going to add the image carousel. So I'm just going to click add elements, go down to media, pro galleries, and I'm just going to choose this gallery right here, but I'm going to customize it. So I'm going to take this one, drop it in, attach it to this section. I'm going to change some settings to remove the arrows and the navigation and the titles. Very easy. Just go through your gallery settings here, customize the layout, and just adjust everything to your heart's content. And then manage the media, add the images that you want. I'm also just going to remove all these and then add the images that I already have to the site. Move this gallery around. I can adjust it however I want it. There we go. Throw in some text. Created a custom library called Matheson where I've got some custom assets that I pre-designed. So pantry staples by Matty Matheson. There it is. I'll just adjust this so it's right in the center. And then I want to take this text and this gallery and stack them so that they have a relationship together. So they know that they exist so that there's no weird overlapping issues. Then I can go ahead and align the stack, make sure the size of this section is tight to the text, but then I'm going to give some padding on the outside of this section. And we'll just do 5% all the way around. That should be good. Now, here's a fun little trick. When I click on this main section, I'm going to go to my inspector panel and say position type sticky. So it's actually just going to stick in its position. I'm just going to stick to the top. And if I preview this, you'll see that it stays put. And the next section comes up over top. And there's our gallery cycling through Pantry Staples by Matty Matheson. It looks just like what's here. Now you can see here, if I go back and forth, the text isn't the same. It's not a perfect match. This font is not as condensed as this one, but good enough, saving me $60 a year on a font. Okay, now I want to show you another little trick here in Wix Studio. If I click on this text and edit it, it's going to do something interesting. It's actually going to go to its just like lowercase. When I click out, it's all uppercase again. Why is that? Well, Sneaky Brad did a little custom CSS. You turn on code mode, go to your global CSS, and this is where you can code CSS. And I love CSS. And I love that Wix Studio added CSS capabilities. So now I can do things that further customize the site and make it a lot easier. So by default, the text is just lowercase like you write it. Instead of me typing all caps, I don't like doing that. I wanted CSS to transform the text to be uppercase. Easy. So what I did was I selected rich text. So that's all text elements on the site. Also the horizontal menu item labels, because that's a different element than just like rich text. And also the vertical menu item label in the mobile dropdown. When you're on the mobile menu on the responsive mobile screen, I wanted the text transform to be uppercase and the letter spacing to be a little bit wider than the default. So what I did was I added that. If I actually turn this off, I'll show you the difference. So that's off. And if I go back here, you'll see it's lowercase, the lowercase menu up here, and it's also really condensed. So this font is really condensed and the footer is all lowercase as well, but I want it to be all uppercase. So if I go back to my code and I turn that back on and preview that again, now everything's going to be uppercase, more letter spacing across the board. It looks really good. More CSS to come shortly. Next section is kind of fun, really simple to ticker tape. So I'm actually just going to go to my assets under Matheson. I might have saved this ticker tape and I'll show you how I built it. So it's just a section with text. And the way I get the ticker tape effect, as you can see here, is by adding a text element. And it's actually a really long text element. Do you see this? It goes really far. That text is just macaroni and cheese salad dressings, barbecue sauces, copied and pasted like 6 times. And the settings for this is hug. So that means the text will be one long element instead of wrapping. But to not have an overflow issue where the site horizontally scrolls, what we're going to do is choose this section and make sure in the inspector panel that the overflow content setting is set to hide, because if I had it on show, well, then we're going to have a problem. It should on the site have this really wide site with a horizontal scroll. Now, to get that ticker tape effect, the text has an effect just called loop, and it's the cross effect. Okay. And the settings are from the left, and the duration is 50 seconds, like the maximum amount of time. Okay. Another section. This part gets fun. The way I see this working is having just 3 column, like 3 cells in a section, another 3 cells, creating this once, and then just copying and pasting it. In fact, I did do that. Let me show you. So I'm going to add a section, and this section, I'm going to do a grid layout. And it's just going to be 3. There it is. The first one is going to have a color in it. We're going to choose that green. All right. So I'm going to throw some text in there. I got a pre-designed text asset. It's just using a title. Throw it in here, and I'm going to align it to the top and make sure it's not too wide. Okay. But then what I want to do is choose the cell and give the cell some padding. I think I'll try 5% all around, and that looks good to me. Now, next up, we have what's going to be an image with some text underneath it in its initial state. And then on hover, we rotate it, add some extra elements. Let me show you how to build that. All right, so I'm going to add an image from my media library. It's going to be that mac and cheese. We'll do a little resizing and aligning. All I need to do now is add some text of what it's called. I'm going to align it underneath here. I'm going to design this as if it has all the elements. So I'm just going to duplicate this text. And the text is like tangy, bright, sharp. All right, so I got the text there, but I need to rotate them a little bit. So let's rotate it. And then underneath mac and cheese, when you hover, there's an underline. I'm going to use a horizontal hairline, actually a 2 pixel hairline. Under decorative, I can find horizontal lines. I'm going to choose this one, which is actually 3 pixels. I'm going to change that. And then the width, I'm just going to make it the width of the text. Okay, so this is the final design of what it would look like when you hover. Minus the box needs to be rotated, but I'll do that after. Select all of these elements, and I'm going to put them in a container. And that's going to allow me to select this one element, and I could save it as an asset, which I won't yet until I've animated it, because when you animate and then save an asset, the animation saves in the asset. It saves you a whole bundle of time. So now I've selected this container. I can align it center, horizontal, and vertical. That looks good. Now let's animate it. That was the bulk of the work. What I want to do now is select the box, not the container, because you can't animate containers, but you can animate images or other elements. So I'm going to select the image, animations and effects. On hover, we're going to do a hover animation. So initially we want to do a rotate on this one. I'm going to adjust that. And let's do 4%, just like a subtle. Okay. And it's also the quick duration, like 0 seconds and linear. It's not like a nice easing effect. It's just fast. And then now what I'm going to do is do another hover animation on this element. Add the animated element is actually going to be the text. And so what I want to do here to make it easier on myself is put these 3 text elements, maybe even the underline, in a container. So watch this. Select the text and underline. Did I get it? I don't think I got it. Do it in the layers panel. Way more professional, Brad. There. Multi-select the text and the line. And I'm going to put that in a container. Couple of containers here. It gets very useful. All right. Perfect. Now what I'm going to do is select the image, and under my effects, hover. The animated element is going to actually be the container. So now what I'm going to do is just say appear. And so these elements will go away and appear on hover. The box will be there. But when I hover over the box, everything should happen. Let's just see. So here's the box with the text. Hover the box. Didn't work. I'll tell you why. Because the box is behind the container. So I'm never hovering over the box. So I'm actually going to take this box and put it above the container in the layers panel. So now it's actually above it. Now it'll work. That's perfect. So now all I got to do is take this container and 3 dots, click on it, save as an asset. Save that asset to a library, and then you can reuse it again and again, just like this. Under my assets, under Matheson, I've got my product, mac and cheese. So now if I just take this, I'm going to attach my product here, and now I've got 2 products there with the same design and animations. Now it's as simple as me just changing images and text. And there we go. That's looking pretty good. All right. Now, something you might notice as well is that there are these lines in between these elements here. Now, a couple ways you can do that. A really simple way here in the cells are just by adding a horizontal line and then aligning it to the left and stretching it, or aligning it to the right and stretching it. Looks something like this. So I'm going to grab a vertical line, attach it to the cell. I'm going to make it 2 pixels and I'm going to duplicate it. So we're going to take this one, align it to the left and then stretch it. And then we're going to take this one, align it to the right and stretch it. And then I'm going to take my container here and then stretch that back out. So now it should look like this. Now, also you might be wondering, when did we add these black lines between these sections? Well, going back to our CSS, all I did was added a short little line of CSS here that says on sections. So that's the class of section, border bottom, solid 2 pixel black. So every section I add is going to have a border bottom of black. And that's just going to solve that problem. So my header, this has a border bottom. My main hero section doesn't have a border bottom, but that's part of the design. It doesn't have that. And then this section, there's a border bottom. The ticker tape section, border bottom. This cell section, border bottom. And that covers it for us. Now, basically what we would do here is add 3 more cells, add the products, and just modify it. I'm going to move on from this section for now because you kind of get the idea. The next section I want to add is this About Matty Matheson section. It's very straightforward, big red section, big hero text, 2 columns, image, text on the right. But you see this text is lowercase. It's the only text on the site that is lowercase, and we need to do that. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to add a new section. I'm going to make it tall and then I'll make it adjust to whatever content is inside of it. But I just like making the section tall so I have a lot of space to work with. I'm going to change it to its red color. I'm going to add some text, and that text is going to be the About Matty Matheson. It's just a large header. There it is. I'm going to align that to the top. And then I want to create some grids here. So I have this section. I'm going to click on it and I'm going to say add a cell to the bottom. I'm going to take this added cell right here. I'm going to take this line and drag it up to the text just so it just hugs it nice and tight. So now we have 2 rows. We have one up here and one here. But I'm going to take this cell and I'm going to split it down the middle, split it vertically. And so now we've got kind of the basic layout that we're going for. So what I'm going to do now is add an image of Matty under my media. It's this nice one here of him in the kitchen. Or maybe as Matty might say, the kitschy kitsch. He has fun words for everything. Cracked pep pap, kitschy kitsch, stuff like that. So we're going to attach it to this cell. And then what I want to do, so I'm going to stretch it. Do I want to stretch it? Let's hold off on stretching it first. No stretchy, stretchy. Add text to this column over here, this cell. It's just a paragraph. We're going to add it in here. Now, you'll notice, Brad, why is this text not uppercase? What sort of trickery did you do to make it work properly? The answer here, my friend, is CSS. I will show you again. So let's go to our CSS and I have the about text. So I added a custom class. I selected the element. You can add custom classes. So I added about text. So I selected about text element. And then inside of that, so a child selector, I selected rich text, _text. And I set the text transform to initial. So what that does is it sets the text back to its original state. If I were to comment this out, it would be all uppercase like the previous style that I set up here. But I want to override that. And so put it lowercase, and now we've got it done properly. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to align this and create a little bit of spacing because this isn't correct. So what I'm actually going to do is stretch this image to fill the cell, but that's not the right layout. I'm going to select the cell, and I want this cell to have 5% all the way around. And I want this cell as well to have 5% all the way around. Perfect. Then I want to take this cell and I want it to have 5% all the way around. And that's it. That's the section. It's beautiful. Now, finally, what I want to do is go down to this section just before the footer and just have this try them all. Big section, couple images, just kind of one over there, one over here. And this has a neat effect. I'm going to do a different effect because you know what? Sometimes it's nice to copy. Other times it's nice to go and kind of create your own version. So let's go down and we're going to add another section here right at the bottom. I believe I created this section design already. And let me show you how I did it. I love global assets and saving assets in libraries because it saves so much time. So here it is. Make sure it's aligned in the section properly. So here we have try them all. It's just text individually placed in certain areas. But what I can do here is animate them. And so I just wanted to try like mouse effects. So on one of them, we're going to do like, let's do a blob. On another one, let's make it airy. And on the other one, let's try Tilt 3D. Let's preview that. Oh, that's so fun. I feel like Matty would approve. It's just kind of silly. It's fun. You're not taking it too seriously. You're like, what's going on here? Try them all. So fun. Nice footer. Let's take a little looky look at the final version. So here we have Matty Matheson, the Matheson Food Company, built in Wix Studio in pretty short amount of time. We got a nice header, nice big section here. We scroll down, the section comes up. We see some nice images that they should automatically scroll through, showing us the products. We got our ticker tape coming through. We got macaroni and cheese. If I hover over the products, we got a nice little animation. There we go. We got salad dressing, green olive, Italian, Greek, cook like a Matheson. When we hover over this image, the cell changes color, giving it just a nice little fun look, a nice little bit of color. About Matty Matheson, here's the bio, 2 grids, 2 columns. Try them all with a fun little animation down to the footer. And yes, of course, this is responsive. It is beautiful. And that's it. That's how I would take a site that I really like and turn it into a Wix Studio site. It's great practice. In fact, I encourage you to try it yourself. Find a site that you like, something that's appealing to you. Maybe it could be an award-winning site. It's going to train your eye. You're going to be able to see what good designers are doing, and it's going to help you get better at recollecting or recalling good design tropes and themes and ideas. Also, this is a great way to add to your portfolio if you are new. You want to take a site and redesign it and rebuild it. Fire it up in Wix Studio, build something cool, and then share it on your portfolio until you get better and better and better. Thanks for watching, friends. If you like this, make sure to do all the things, the subscribes, the likes, but better yet, join us in the Creative Crew community. Links down in the bio and in the description down below. It's our community where we help designers with the business aspect, with your skills and your craft. We do meetups, we do workshops, events, trainings, boot camps. It's all there. It's all free. Thanks to our friends at Wix Studio. We'll see you in another video. Cheers.